How do I explain this game? No, really? How the hell do I explain this game?
So fierce! Fierce doesn't even begin to describe it. You were ferocious!
I want to start this one off by saying I wasn't a Dragon Quest fan before this game. I'd only played one other game in the series before this, and that was over a decade ago. But holy shit. This game sucked me in and took me on one hell of an adventure. I've never had a game simultaneously be so funny
Griffins!
and so soul-destroyingly sad at the same time. Anyway, this is my review of Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age. The game originally launched in July 2017 for PS4, but the definitive edition I played was released on Nintendo Switch in September 2019. If you don't know about the Dragon Quest games, they're a series of turn-based JRPGs with the creator of Dragon Ball as their art director. Yes, the same guy who drew Goku designs all of the characters and enemies in this game series. The game is quite long and took me just over 50 hours to complete, but the whole time I was eager to see what was going to happen next. What sets this aside from any other turn-based RPG I've ever played is the story and characters. I'm not joking when I say you absolutely love every party member you pick up along the way by the end of the game. Everyone has so much personality, and the interactions between you all is so great. I can't remember the last time a game pulled me in like this, and made me feel like I was on this long adventure with the characters as opposed to just playing through the game. The story itself is so well written, and has a few mind-blowing twists and turns at the halfway and end points of the game. I don't want to give away too much in terms of story and what actually happens, but to summarise. You play the role of the Luminary, a chosen one prophesied to be reborn and defeat an evil that's destined to return. Sounds familiar. You were found floating down a river as a baby and raised in a small town in the mountains, and when you came of age you were sent off to talk to the king of Heliodor. On your arrival, however, he accuses you of being the Darkspawn, who will actually cause the evil to return. The overlying goal is to collect 6 orbs, sounds familiar, that will allow you to travel to a giant floating tree in the sky where the hero is said to retrieve the weapon of light used to defeat the evil to come. This is sort of a spoiler, but not really. When I got to the halfway point in the game, I actually thought it was the end of the game, or close to it. Needless to say, I was very wrong, and there was another half of the game to play. What's more interesting is, the second half of the game has a completely different feel to it. Again, I can't go into what happens without spoiling it, but it's a very cool concept. What's even crazier is the post-game. Once again, without spoiling it, the game isn't over when it's technically over. People who've completed the game will know what I'm talking about. Let's call it the big decision at the end. This big decision actually made me feel completely empty inside. Just trust me on this one, the story is fucking amazing. There's some really clever foreshadowing, and the game has a very satisfying ending that doesn't leave you wondering who did what when it was all said and done. I have never had a game make me laugh my ass off and genuinely tear up in the same night. There's some seriously sad and unexpected moments in this game. One in particular actually had me sitting there sobbing the whole way through the entire cutscene.
I hate to ask, but would you mind awfully not going anywhere for a little while? I think I'm going to cry.
Which just goes to show how invested in the characters and story I actually was when playing. The voice actors did an unbelievable job of voicing these characters, and they did a brilliant job of portraying the emotions these characters were feeling. There's only a few sad moments in the game, but they really stick out because of all the constant humour the game has going on. And by God, is there a lot of funny stuff going on. The game finds a way to make even the most tense moments in the story do a complete U-turn into comedy gold.
Don't worry, I'm not a bad slime. I promise.
Let's talk about the gameplay. You can have 4 members in your party during a battle, and you can switch out your team mid-fight. Each character has their own unique abilities, and you can spec them how you want based on their skill trees. This is good because you could play through the game one way, and then have a different character use different abilities in another playthrough. Luckily, you can use gold to respec characters anytime if you don't like where they're going. I found that towards the end of the game, I had to do a bit of grinding to beat a few bosses, but generally, it's not a very grindy game, which is good considering it's a JRPG. You shop for better equipment at each town, as well as having the option to forge new items you learn the recipes for. There's a lot of optional side quests, but most of them are as simple as collecting items or killing a monster for somebody, and I personally started to ignore them about halfway through the game as they were repetitive and pretty pointless. The enemy variety is pretty impressive, but what's even more impressive is the number of bosses in the game. There's nothing better than trying to take down a big boy, and I can tell you now, there's a ridiculous number of amazing bosses in this game. There were a few bosses I lost to a number of times purely because they had my whole team in a permanent state of status effects, preventing me from moving at all. Then as soon as I got to actually move, they were easy enough to take down. This was a bit annoying, but a little less status conditions on a few bosses at times could have been nice. There's a bit of a lead up to when the story actually properly kicks off, and the side quests are a bit naff, but apart from that, honestly this game is gold. The game visually looks bright and beautiful, and the cutscenes look even better, and the different soundtracks fit the game's many moods very well. This was a really hard game to talk about, because the things I really want to talk about can't be talked about without ruining the story, which is basically what makes this game shine. To summarise, this game has some of the best story and characters of any game I've played in quite some time, and it was an absolute treat from start to finish. I cannot believe that it didn't hit my radar until it came to Switch. I would seriously suggest looking at some gameplay, and if you like turn-based RPGs, then 100% go and get yourself a copy of this game, and be prepared for an epic and emotional adventure, because what you think you're going to get, and what you actually get.
What? Not the naughty stick! And you've taken to wielding 2 of them, I see!
Are 2 completely different things. Well, this is the game to break my whole numbering system of whole numbers, because it's just too good in my opinion to give it an 8, but it's not so much of a masterpiece that I could give it a 9. So with that, I give Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age an 8.6 out of 10. Thank you so much for checking out my review. If you liked it, please go and check out the channel. We do a load of Nintendo videos and other gaming related Let's Plays. If you enjoyed this review, please let me know by hitting the like button, and consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help when your channel's this small. So until the next one, thank you and good night.